Arizona Territory, 1877. It was 12 years since the Civil War had ended, and it'd be another 35 years before Arizona would become a state in 1912. Out here, Army soldiers on their way to build Fort Huachuca came across an itinerant prospector. Well, it was about that time Geronimo and some of the other Apaches were on an outbreak, and they asked the old prospector what he was doing. He said he was looking for his lucky strike. And they told him, all you'll find out here will be your tombstone. Well, he got his lucky strike, and he named the place Tombstone.
Tombstone was on its way to being the premier town of the West.
It was in 1882 that the Birdcage Theater here in Tombstone, Arizona was the roughest, broadiest, wickedest night spot between Basin Street and the Barbary Coast. It was open for 9 years. It operated 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. During that time period, 16 gun and knife fights took place in here. 26 men lost their lives. They left 140 bullet holes, marking the walls, floors, and ceiling. Up here in the front, there are a few. In the vertical post of the bar, about knee-high, there's a .45 caliber bullet hole. The slug still remains in there today. And in the ceiling, right above the bar, between the light and the fan, is a small hole made by a .32. And in the corner of the human fly showbill frame, 18 inches up from the lower left-hand corner, is a ricochet .45 caliber bullet hole. Now to the right of Fatima's portrait in the plaster wall, you'll find a .44 caliber bullet hole there. Fatima was a famous belly dancer here on this stage in 1881. In 1882, she had that portrait sent out from San Francisco as a gift to the Birdcage, and she still hangs in her original spot today. Now the cowboys come in here, they got a little tipsy, and they used her for target practice. If you look close throughout her canvas, you can find 6 patch bullet holes and a knife slash in her skirt below her knee. She does appear to have 2 navels, and one of those is a bullet hole. Now the narrow staircase against the wall was how the cowboys, soldiers, and miners all got up to the shady ladies in the private Birdcage cribs. Now, if you take time to look up those stairs, the top 3 steps you'll find are worn down to the thickness of a 25-cent piece. And that's just indicating the heavy traffic that went up that staircase. The bottom steps, of course, are not hardly worn out at all. And the only explanation we have for that is that they were in such a hurry to get up there, they just skipped those altogether. The bar in the front is the original. The bar is all handmade out of cherry wood in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and it was shipped around the Horn of South America to a port in San Francisco, and then wagon train back here to arrive for the grand opening. And at the far end of the bar, you'll find a rope-drawn dumbwaiter, and that's how they raise the drinks up to the ladies and their men customers in the private Birdcage cribs. Now, when you enter into the museum, you'll find all the original gambling casino with the dice, faro, and blackjack tables. The massive grand piano remains in the orchestra pit below the stage. All the curtains, drapes, and light fixtures are all original throughout the building. And here at the faro table, Doc Holliday dealt faro here from time to time. And one night, Johnny Ringo walked past Doc's table, and Doc slurred, "Care to buck the tiger, Johnny? This is the gutsiest game in town." Well, Ringo spun around, took his bandana, and slapped him across the table with it. Said, "You care to hold the other end of that bandana, Doc? This is the deadliest game in town." Doc Holliday stood and said, "Sure, Johnny, this may be my lucky day." Both men squaring off, holding opposite ends of bandana. Most often, both men are going to be killed. Both men fired and missed. High rollers played here at the Birdcage Theater. It was a $1,000 buy-in to sit at this table at that time. That's the equivalent of $30,000 today. They were a waiting list to play at this game, most of the time 3 to 5 days. At times it was said it went up as high as 6 months. Some of America's most famous high rollers and gamblers that played here, such as Bat Masterson, Luke Short, Diamond Jim Brady, and of course the infamous Doc Holliday. Randolph Hearst and Adolphus Bush of the Bush Breweries met here 4 times a year. The game played continuous, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, for 8 years, 5 months, and 3 days.
About right here where I'm standing is where Curly Bill Brocious shot Marshal Fred White, on October 27, 1880, almost a year to the day before the gunfight on Fremont Street behind the OK Corral. This brought to a head the feud between the Clantons and the McLaurys, the Earp brothers, and their friend, the infamous dentist, John Henry Doc.
Next question for Steve Gatto. This comes from Marlon Workman of Muncie, Pennsylvania. I understand you are questioning the version of Curly Bill's death at the hand of Wyatt Earp at Iron Springs on March 24, 1882. I'm told you may be working on a biography of Curly Bill in which you will reveal that he lived well beyond the Iron Springs incident, eventually settling in Mexico, or something along those lines. Are you in a position to share some of this research with us at this time? Steve?
No.
Panel members, you're not supposed to answer merely yes or no.